This video is sponsored by Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Rosmo. And ever heard of Green Snake? Today I'll be talking about Green Snake, a Chinese animated film created in 2021 and a sequel to the movie Bai She, meaning White Snake, which I reviewed so long ago in this channel. Oh boy, that one's old. Now I'll talk more about why I wanted to bring back review videos, what will change and how this will be different from before at the end of the video. But if you want to watch the version with full cuts and clips of the movie itself, since I can't do that on YouTube, subscribe to my Patreon. Only $1 for you guys to access it and see each scene from the movie as I talk about it. But for now, I will be using scenes from trailers or just screenshots available online to avoid my channel getting killed, especially with how YouTube relies solely on AI to decide whether a channel dies or not. I don't think I want to take that risk. Now, without further ado, ever heard of Green Snake or its full original name, 百十二金蛇蝎子? This movie was a hell of a ride, I have to tell you. It's very different from the first movie, all while keeping all the things that made the first movie good. If you want to watch it for yourself, please do so. It is on Netflix as of the time of this recording. Also, this video would have spoilers, so be advised. It'll be a little confusing, mind you, because unlike the first movie, it doesn't really have a message to convey, and I'll talk about that in detail later, because that's where the juicy parts of this review comes in. The first movie, Bai She, was centered around a romance between a snake hunter and a mythical snake spirit. And just like its sequel, it is an animated adult movie, which I unfortunately have to begrudgingly clarify that it is an animated adult movie, because seeing it alone would make you realize that it's for an adult audience with the heavy lore and a lot of serious dialogue that would definitely be boring for kids. And if that wasn't apparent enough, the first movie had a literal sex scene, so just because it's animated doesn't mean it's automatically for kids. Now, as White Snake was a story about prevailing love through all hardships between a snake spirit and a snake catcher, the second movie is a testament to how great Chinese censorship goes and how creative people will go to tell their story. What do I mean by this? We'll talk about that more later, but I do need to tell you that Green Snake still keeps the aspect of love, whether it is platonic or romantic, but one thing's for sure, it will always showcase unwavering love. Honestly, watching this movie definitely reminded me why I used to love doing these movie reviews in the first place, because I really enjoyed it. It's fun, it's interesting, and it keeps me curious what they do next, because the pacing is different from other movies. Yes, there is a climax at the end, but the whole movie has so many action scenes and climaxes that I honestly don't know which one would be the last. At some point, I thought I was at the halfway point of the movie with how things were going, and apparently, I was only 20 minutes into this. I'll get into more detail later, but what I loved about this movie is that it doesn't expect anything from you. It doesn't waste my time in any scene, at least that's what it felt like for me. They have big reveals or interesting mysteries that they bait the viewer with, but they don't linger on it and make you feel like they're telling you to, Hey, you should pay attention to this, it's really important. No, they just breeze through it. And a good example for this is that one scene where they survived a calamity by a fiery phoenix burning everything in its path. And Sima demanded to see the mysterious guy's face first. And as someone who was so curious about this since the start of the movie, I was on the edge of my seat. But then they did this. He said a man with such a face walking in Asuraville is a perfect fit. It was such a quick scene. They teased it, but then they continue the story with the lingering tension of their impending danger at the forefront, then to focus on what his face looked like. It's amazing how such a short scene managed to catch my curiosity without making me feel angry that they teased it, because it didn't feel like a carrot being dangled in front of me. It felt like another piece of a puzzle I have yet to see, and the movie gained my trust in them to reveal it to me at some point, because they haven't wasted any time with the movie. But before I get too ahead of myself with all my opinions on this movie, because let's be real, this movie is jam-packed with so many events and plot beats that I just have to talk about it, if not at least attempt to cover most of it. Now, Bai She and the start of Jin She is set in the late Tang Dynasty, and I need to clear up that I'm not Chinese and I'm not an expert in Chinese mythology or dynasties, so if I say anything incorrect, please do correct me. But my point is that the first movie and its opening is set around 618 to 907 AD. It's set really long ago, and that's important because the movie suddenly decides to shift to a different time period. Not a specific one, but one where there's laptops, guns, motorcycles, and you don't understand how hyped I was to see this sudden shift. I didn't see any promotional material for this movie prior to watching, so suddenly getting thrust into an entirely different time period, or at least that's what it looks like initially, got me so excited and put me in the shoes of Xiaoqing, who is just as shocked and confused about the sudden change. The setting in which this movie takes place is a place where all the time periods mash together, if that makes sense. When Xiao Xiaoqing just arrived and got picked up by Sister Sun, she asks, "From what dynasty are you from?" Xiaoqing answers with the Great Song Dynasty. The place is called Asuraville, where everyone who has ever rejected reincarnation end up in, too stuck in their life's obsession to move on. All the people here are either too stubborn to let things go or too headstrong to give up. That's where our three main characters come in that I want to talk about in this video: Xiaoqing, Sima, and the mysterious guy whom I will call by his name in the movie in the later half of this video, but for now let's just call him that, okay? Also, I will be calling them by their Chinese names here because I didn't know they had English names now. Apparently Xiaobai is Bianca, which means white in Italian, so I guess it makes sense. Xiaoqing is Verda, and Sima is Simon, which actually kind of makes the most sense to say, but I'm not used to it, so I'll just call them as they are. Of course, before talking about those characters, I have to mention the amazing visuals and the animation in this film. The first movie already had amazing cinematography and visuals. These two movies only have 2 years apart from release, but its improvement is apparent. Like, look at this close-up scene with Xiaoqing. You can literally see the pores on her face, or this scene of her in the dark tunnel as soon as she was transported to Asuraville. I wish I could show the entire clip, but I can't risk it, so just bear with me with my descriptions of it. Except for patrons, I can go all ham. Hell, I could show you the whole movie if I could. And I can. Some of my favorite scenes visually are the Phoenix of Fahai, Baoqing turning into a full fox at the pool of release, and this scene where Xiaoqing was venting about not trusting people anymore, and you can see the hurt and the slight twitch in her mouth when she says that, as if trying not to cry. It's the little details, guys, I tell you. I praise the realism, but realism can only take you so far unless there's creativity in the composition and shots, which this film has. They really make the magical scenes look magical and make use of the medium so well. My favorite scene has to be the introduction of the pool of release, where in order to get out of Asuraville, they have to give up an item tied to their obsession, and then we watch a woman sing in grief as she holds the item tied to her obsession, maybe something the man in the reflection gave her. We don't know if the man is her lover, a man she looks up to, or someone who she has one-sided feelings for, but all we know is that the mere sight of him again brings her to tears, but she jumps nonetheless. The music stops, and then we see her lie in the water, her memories of that man fading as she gives up her obsession and her memories of him. Then suddenly a bunch of hands grab her as she struggles in the water, and as the hands drag her down, there's a tear that mixes in the water. It's some powerful stuff. I had no idea who this woman was, but the short time we had and the information they gave us visually was enough to make me feel bad for her, all the while feeling amazed at her sacrifice. There's a lot of beautiful scenes in the movie that it's hard to just pick one, but that one specifically stuck with me. It's such a beautiful and tragic scene, and it mirrors well with Xiaoqing's struggle to let go of Xiaobai. This woman has and will endure so much throughout the movie, but the one thing she will literally refuse to do is let go of Xiaobai. I really like the way they describe obsession, where they give it a more neutral light. It's not evil nor is it good, at least in my perspective. They describe it as what you can't get or give up. The obsession alone isn't what's bad, but the resentment and loathing that lingers the longer you hold on to it is. Aside from Xiaoqing, they give us 3 examples of this. One is the woman who yearns for this man and sings of sorrow to give up her love and or him entirely. Then we have this other person who's obsessed with passing an exam, begging to get another try because he believes he can pass. And the third one is very brief, but very relatable. It's Sister Sun, or Sun Tie, who says that she was a rock climber, and before she died or went to Asuraville, she was 2 meters from peak before she fell. Yeah! I'd be pissed off too. But see, their obsessions are like simple things, but those simple things mean the world to them. And it's obvious why it's so hard to give up, especially since Asuraville forces them to focus on self-preservation more than ever giving them time to contemplate on their obsessions. Hell, it doesn't even last 24 hours before a calamity decides to kill them, much less now in the movie where it happens more frequently than ever. One more thing I adore about this movie, especially since the concept of it alone is enhanced by how good the visuals are, is the world building. I'm not really a sucker for heavy lore or a lot of exposition in world building, but this movie, instead of explaining it first so we know what's ahead, it just throws us headfirst into it and lets us experience the dangers of Asuraville before we even get an explanation. The only time we get any exposition dumps is when we meet Baoqing Fox, or the boss of the All Good Market. But it's still entertaining because of the way she talks and moves, and she as a character is so mysterious and all-knowing that you just gotta listen. She explains the Pool of Restoration and the Kalpas, the 2 ways to leave Asuraville. One is by your own volition, and the other is by force. The kalpas are random calamities that happen in 24-hour cycles, which gets less and less time in between as the movie goes on, but its main purpose is to eliminate the people who refuse to leave Asuraville. So not only does Xiaoting have to worry about surviving starvation, fending off of factions, and the constant dogfights in and out of the streets, but you gotta survive tsunamis, tornadoes, and a literal wave of fire, and spirits grabbing and killing you every day. It's such a fascinating world to watch. Terrifying to live in, yes, but the fact that everyone here has an obsession they're willing to hold on to and endure all this terrifying calamities instead of just jumping in a pool kind of makes you wonder what the people here have gone through that makes them stay so badly. Now for my favorite part of these reviews, talking about the characters. But before that, let me make you hungry with some Tokyo Treat and Sakurako. Tokyo Treat and Sakurako are don't leave yet. We got a Valentine's box, chocolate, and a cinnamon roll in a magazine. As I was saying, Tokyo Treat and Sakurako are both subscription boxes that send Japanese treats from Japan to you. And they sent their boxes for February, celebrating Valentine's Day, to me. If you like modern pop Japanese snacks, then Tokyo Treat is offering super sweet Valentine with snacks like the Kit Kat strawberry shortcake, Love a Lot chocolate bar, and mini chocolate candy hearts. Or if you like traditional Japanese artisan snacks, Sakurako is throwing a Kyoto's Valentine's to experience a quiet romance of Kyoto with snacks like the matcha cream senbei, matcha tsujiri no sato. There's so much matcha, I'm so happy. But they also have the caramel bergamot hojicha to drink along with these yummy snacks. And for the monthly tableware, they gave me a cute little vintage kimono cloth pouch. I couldn't stop myself and took a bite while recording this, and I chose to snack on the chocolate genji pie that is a flaky biscuit with chocolate underneath. Just imagine an otap, but smaller and has creamy chocolate all over one side. It's heart-shaped, which is cute, but because of shipping, it was cracked in the middle too. Like, sorry guys, if you're watching this, then maybe this is a sign to be careful on Valentine's Day. You know, I'm kidding, don't hold this against me. If you get your heart broken, that's not my fault. Then over on Sakurako, I took the chance to taste the chocolate mochi because it looks so good, and it also has marshmallow and chocolate filling inside, so I had to try it. If you made it this far, can you comment like, wow, I can't believe Ross did a cartwheel during an ad? Is her hand okay? So they'd be confused. Anyway, the mochi chocolate is really good. It's more on the chocolate side, so it's not too sweet. It has that good bitter but creamy kind of taste that I love with chocolate. It's not too bitter, but it's not too sweet either. I love it, personally. If you want a box of your own, use my promo code ROSSMO to get $5 off of your first purchase. Thank you again, Tokyo Treat and Sakurako, for sponsoring this video. Now let's go back. So let's actually talk about the characters now. I will be talking about the main three, of course. I'll be saving Mystery Guy and Xiaoting for last because I have so much to talk about with them. So let's start easy. Sister Sun. She's a plot device, but not a bad one. I actually thought she was gonna stay for the rest of the movie, you know? Be the one to help Xiaoting come to terms with her new sister in arms, seeing as she was hesitant to even call her Suntie when they first met. But nope, she died after teaching Xiaoting all she needs to know to survive this place. How to use a gun, ride a motorcycle, but goddamn! I really thought she was gonna stay, so color me surprised when she got smacked in the back and faded into existence. We do see her at the end of the movie though. Whether this is her new life or her life before she was sent to Asuraville is unknown, because time is weird in Asuraville. Some people who died ahead of time, like Sister Sun dying 1,000 years after Xiaoting died, but being there longer than her. They do this thing a lot, like with Sister Sun in the beginning of the movie. I just assumed that the next colorful character would be someone we'd have for the story, but they kill them off, and it catches me off guard every time. Like this green hair dude at the start of the movie. Yeah, he's an asshole. His first introduction was bad for Xiaoting, and I thought he would be that bad boy who would come around at the middle or end part of the movie, but nope. He pins Sister Sun to a wall, says some creepy shit, and then Xiaoting slices his throat. And then we just move on. I timed it, and this man literally had only 30 seconds of screen time before he fades into another life. This was exactly after Sister Sun tells us it's a dog-eat-dog world here, and immediately, they show us that no one is safe. That's why when we first met Sima, I thought he was gonna die at the fiery kalpa, but he keeps on living. But we'll talk about him later. Next, I want to talk about Fahai. I don't know much about Fahai, at least from what I can get from the movie. There are tidbits, you know? From Xiaoting's dialogue, we can tell that he didn't live a righteous life before being a monk, where he committed sins like lust, murder, and broke every taboo. And even if he does regret all that, it's implied here that Xiaobai lived with Suxian in peace and even had a child with him. I don't know if this is the same Suxian in the first movie. It doesn't seem like it because I don't know if you remember from my review years ago, but he's dead. So from Xiaoting's words where she says in every incarnation, you just hurt her. So he's probably Suxian, but not the Suxian that we know. Fahai is the antagonist, and although his intentions look correct, his means are so unnecessary, at least in the movie. He struck a deal with the Oxhead leader to bring him back to his world if he literally eradicates everyone in Asuraville, because Fahai believes everyone should be reincarnated and no one should hold back against it, but he doesn't need to do all that shit. We got the Kalpas. I don't know if it's his doing too, but it's just forcing people instead of letting them come to terms with their obsessions and move on. Or just kill each other. Honestly, Fahai is just messy. He's just dipping his toes in other people's business is what I'm getting from the small snippets of info we get from him. Then let's move on to Sima, a strong man who has an interest in strong women. I like his character. Is he a good man? I don't know, probably not. He doesn't look like it, but I think he's a really interesting character and there's a lot of mystery around him. Anything we can know about him is from how he reacts and what he says. Other than that, and from what the pool of release shows us, we don't really know much about this guy. It's obvious from the start from his reactions alone that he's interested in strength. You see him interested when Xiaoqing went wild after Sister Sun died and even won against an Oxhead member. And I may be reading too into this, but you see him slump back down when he sees Sister Sun die. The moment he sees someone as weak, immediately uninterested. So his sudden shift in leaving Xiaoqing the moment she didn't listen to him, the moment he saw her as weak for saving the weak, wasn't surprising to me. Though I am super curious what his obsession is. They give us hints. They tell us that the item tied to his obsession is a gorge's love potion. And we also see what his obsession is. Women. We don't know if he used the love potion to those women back when he was alive or if it was used against him to love any or a specific woman. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. Though, there is one scene that I found funny with him on my second watch because at that point, I knew he was attracted to strength and it shows in everything he does. So there's this part in the movie where it's an important scene for Xiaoqing's character with her shedding everything, feeling vulnerable in the shower, but refusing to remove Xiaobai's sash at all, even in the bath. And then Sima pops in to tell her that they have to go. He doesn't linger. He takes one look and then leaves. Like, this man may love women, but he loves strength even more. Like, he ogles more whenever a woman fights back compared to a literal naked person in front of him. That's just my own interpretation of that scene, but I found it funny. I do have one side note that I want to talk about that's related to Sima. I was supposed to mention a scene at the start of this video where I noticed none of the action scenes in this movie overstay its welcome. And I also like how clean and quick the choreography is. I almost said otherwise for a specific action scene that involves Sima, and it's the car chase scene on the way to the All Good Market. Do I think it's a long scene? It kinda is, and I initially thought it overstayed its welcome because we get it, Asuraville is dangerous. But on my second watch, I realized that the purpose of that scene wasn't to reiterate that this place is dangerous, but that Sima is very capable in this dangerous setting. Throughout that scene, they make it obvious what his charms and strong points are. He jumps into action when Xiaoqing needs help, he's reliable, and he trusts Xiaoqing's strength to fend off enemies. This action scene showcases how good Sima is in taking the lead or taking a step back to support in combat. And I think that was pretty cool. Now we move on to Mystery Masked Man, or how he's called, Xiaobai. That's right, if you haven't watched the movie yet and listened to my review first, this man is the reincarnation of Xiaobai, which leads to a lot of things that I have a lot of theories about, but let's talk about his character first. Already by his first introduction, he's interesting, he's mysterious, and also neutral in a place where you are forced to take sides or else you wouldn't survive. Sister Sun says he doesn't side with any faction, but we soon find out that that's a lie as it's revealed he's a spy for the Oxhead, which makes sense on why that group found the base Sister Sun is staying at, but that's only speculation on my part. I like his design, and the mystery around him was interesting, especially with the hazy memories and the wrecked face. The fact that out of everyone in Asuraville, he's the only one who can't see anything in the pool of release, and I think the hazy memory could also serve as his obsession too, because he could easily jump in the pool, because what is he losing? He doesn't know. It's not a loss if he doesn't even know what he's losing, but his obsession to know what it is kind of matches his obsession to what it actually ends up being, which is Xiaoqing, as we find out at the end of the movie. I find his character interesting mainly because of the mystery of what he looks like, and it was obvious from the start that he was going to be the main lead for Xiaoqing and not Sima, but then the reveal of his face happened and he looks like Xiaobai. I'll be honest, when they first revealed his face, I had to laugh. I verbally went, ugh. I'm sorry, Xiaobai looks pretty, but without all the eye makeup, it's so obvious how far apart his eyes are. I couldn't even take him seriously. Now I know how this looks. This person who we thought was the true love interest or partner in action looks like Xiaoqing's sister. Hold on to this, okay? I promise we'll talk about this, but first let me talk about Xiaoqing's character because I have found a lot of things surrounding this movie and story, so please hold your horses and don't comment about it yet until I revealed my findings. I swear it makes it better. So, Xiaoqing This movie is absolutely perfect for her. I barely remember anything from the first movie, but what stuck with me about her character was that she was loyal, protective, and extremely stubborn. If she feels it in her gut that what she's doing is right or something she wants to do, she will do it no matter what the cost. So taking that headstrong of a character and putting her in a movie where the setting is a cutthroat world that forces her to focus on survival and survival of the fittest, she fits right in. She is in her element. She does show compassion and isn't just someone heartless just to survive. She gives back to the people that protect and or save her, except for the octopus that kept them safe. He can go fuck himself, apparently. They didn't even think to save him or even felt bad. I felt bad and I saw him for like 5 seconds. Seeing Xiaoting trying to navigate and learn the new weapons and ways she can use to survive was pretty cool. And how they show her it's not that easy as they get stolen from multiple times. She literally gets dragged on the road, and even Sister Sun going to the sun not long after. They are taking L's, and I love that since it doesn't make it easy for her. I also love her fighting style. I love that even without powers, they still remember to give her snake-like aspects. There were multiple, if not all, fight scenes where you can see her slither or slick around to dodge attacks. She's pretty nimble on her feet and it was really fun to watch. Now, I want to talk about her obsession, Xiaobai. I've noticed that Xiaoting was actually about to accept her fate at the start of the movie, but when she remembered Xiaobai, her face in the sky, she held onto Xiaobai's sash tightly and never let go since. Even in the bath, as I mentioned earlier with Sima's segment, I think that small scene was really important because you see her shedding all the mud and the dirt, all her clothes in a state of vulnerability in the bath, but she's still holding onto that sash. Or when she was training with Sister Sun, at night she would just lie in bed, flickering her flashlight on and off while staring at it. You cannot deny the strength of her obsession, which is why she never went the easy way to escape Asuraville. She literally chose the hardest path out just to keep her memories of Xiaobai, because it's that important to her. She's that important to her. It's also interesting to bring up Xiaoting's point of view when it comes to a partner, since she's witnessed Xiaobai being hurt by Suxian, and she mentions that he had hurt her in every incarnation, whether it was one where he was too weak emotionally or physically to protect Xiaobai. In this movie, he was too weak physically to protect her, ending her to be trapped by Fa Hai, or like in the first movie where he managed to save her when she was in danger of the Snake Master, and even staying with her until he literally freezes to death. Emotionally, Xiaobai was left hurt, and Xiaoting was the one to see the aftermath of it every time, because she always stuck with her. Now, I want to talk more about Xiaobai and Xiaoting's relationship with each other as characters, but only in this movie because I forgot most of their interactions in the first one. I think it would be best to talk about that after I bring up the fact that the creators did not specify or clarify if they are blood-related sisters or not, and the interactions between them hint at something more than just friends or sisters. So I looked up some discussion online, and they're comparing this movie Xiaobai and Xiaoting to the original tale, where they aren't sisters as in siblings, but sisters in arms, two snake spirits who trained under the same master. After reading about it, it made more sense to me. She calls Xiaobai Jie in a way of respecting someone older or superior in a polite way. I mean, I'm Asian, so I get it. I don't see everyone I call ate or atsi as family. They're just someone older or someone I have to address with respect. So with that in mind, things aren't as odd as I thought it was. Because listen, I was doing so much mental gymnastics in this movie for it to make sense and find a way around so that Xiaoting isn't actually in love with her actual sister. If it was, that would be one thing, because they would definitely be addressing it as taboo or just addressing the irregular kind of relationship in story. But they didn't. I was initially going to compare this movie to the Odyssey or the epic musical, where there isn't a lesson. You're there for the journey of it all, because think about it. If you were to pinpoint a lesson from epic, what's the lesson? Stop being merciful? Stop greeting the world with open arms? Because things seem to go much better for Odysseus when he starts being cruel to everything. No, it's because there is no lesson for the viewer, but a journey you have to go to with Odysseus. And I was going to compare that to Xiaoting because without knowing what we assumed earlier, you'd think that the lesson is never give up on your obsessions, and it's okay to fall in love with your sister that is already in love with another man. I already understood why Xiaoting was obsessed with Xiaobai because she's inherently a protected person, and the fact that her headstrong personality and refusal to forget Xiaobai is the reason Fa Hai was defeated, and most likely the reason Xiaobai was freed from where she was eternally trapped in, basically. So with that fact in mind, it feels so much heart-wrenching to see someone long for their most loved one, and even see them in the afterlife, or in a purgatory environment, I guess. The fact that she can't let go of her obsession, that she'd rather go through all this suffering just to keep Xiaobai in her memory, even though from the first movie and the start of this one, Xiaobai never reciprocated that. she loved Susian. Now, it's not confirmed that this is the case, so you can either look at it that way or not. It still works either way. But seeing that speculation makes things click a bit more. This might be a stretch, now stay with me, okay? Some people speculate that this movie does have sapphic undertones and that reincarnating Xiao Bai into a dude would help slip Xiao Bai and Xiao Jing's romance under the censorship radar. But with word going around that there was supposed to be a kissing scene between Mystery Man and Xiao Jing after the reveal of his face, it didn't pass through censorship. I tried looking for articles or interviews about this, but I couldn't find anything, so I think it's all speculation. But even if it is, it makes much more sense with that in mind when I watched the movie a second time. If you want to see more, I put links in the description where I found a lot of information about this movie, so check it out, especially the Reddit post where I saw the discussion about the fun facts about the movie. So with that out of the way, I do want to talk about the ending of this movie. Throughout this film, it's action-packed, dramatic, and really pushes home the idea of strength of characters. Like, what is strength? Is it like Sima where he's adept in combat, or someone with a compassionate heart like Mystery Guy? In the end, it doesn't really matter if Xiao Ting finds someone strong to be by her side. When she said, "My sister loved a man with a big heart but a weak body," that's when I decided that one day, if I ever fall in love, it would be someone strong and capable, one who in times of trouble would be able to protect me. We know deep down that she still cherishes Xiao Bai and can't let go of her, so her words here feel as though strength will be the only justification for moving on to someone else. If she can't have Xiao Bai because she's already in love with someone else, aka Susian, whom she always falls in love with all of his lives, then the next best thing is to find someone strong in her eyes, someone Xiao Bai does not have, someone that wouldn't make her suffer the way Xiao Bai is constantly suffering for love. And I'll be honest, I didn't get emotional throughout this movie, but I did shed one tear for the scene of the Cherry Blossom Fairy, but the ending made me cry, and I don't think it was supposed to, but I did. The fact that throughout the movie, we know Xiao Jing's obsession is one-sided. She loves Xiao Bai whether you interpret it as romantic or platonic. You cannot deny that this woman cares for this person very much, to the point that she doesn't want to forget her and her memories with her. But then we get to the ending and we see Xiao Bai, even while not fully remembering Xiao Jing, she looks for her. In every lifetime after she was freed from the pagoda, she looks for her and finally finds her in their new reincarnation, where their obsession probably reached to a point where they couldn't let go of that wanting to find Xiao Jing again. And you guys might be curious, with the first movie and the second movie, Xiao Bai had only loved Susian, and there was really no indication that that would change because of how strongly they feel for each other. Now, there's no hints as to why that is the case, but I have a theory, okay? Hear me out. What if after her first life we see by the ending, I wondered why Xiao Bai herself didn't get stuck in Asuraville, because she's just as stubborn as Xiao Jing when it comes to the one she loves, and that's Susian, evident in the first movie. But how come she gets reincarnated? My theory is that she actually went to Asuraville and then used the pool of release to escape, forgetting Susian, but then kept her hairpin for the past life. Honestly, I'm not sure, because I can't really find a workaround for a world where Xiao Bai forgets Susian, because come on, that woman has found that man in every lifetime after the first movie and fell in love with him, had a child with him, and was willing to fight Fahai just to see him again. I love this movie, but that one part is something I can't wrap my head around. But there was a teaser for a new movie at the end credits, so maybe we'll get more info there. All in all, this movie is fantastic, and I absolutely love whether it is with the speculation about the sapphic undertones or without. This movie is really good and enjoyable, and it looks absolutely amazing. Light Chase, the studio that made this movie, always delivers with this story and visuals. I would recommend that you guys watch this for yourselves if you haven't, because the experience is still great even when you know the twists. So I am bringing back movie reviews to the channel if this does well, and if YouTube hopefully doesn't kick my channel in the bucket for using screenshots from the movie. But again, if you want to watch this review with all the scenes playing in the background as well as specific scenes I talked about played in between my review, check out my Patreon. Just $1 to get a bunch of rewards like this and watch those versions of my reviews in the future. I'm really glad people have been commenting for me to review this movie because it brought back my love for movie reviews. It's true that copyright was the main reason I stopped, but it came to a point where I was watching movies that I didn't even enjoy and had to review, leading me to make a review where I couldn't talk about things that I love about it, but things I disliked. And I think making negative reviews about movies felt really draining to me. I don't take back my opinions about said movies like Dragon Hunters or Valiant, because I can't lie to you guys if I didn't like it. But the reason I made movie reviews in the first place was to share my love of animated movies, and I'll stick to that. So to avoid that, I might not take immediate requests on Patreon for movies anymore and just talk about movies that move me to talk about it here on the channel. Thank you for everyone watching up to this point, and I hope you guys look out for my future storytime videos and other reviews. Big thanks to my patrons, Gamerman, Similar Sound, Kuya Daniel, Stale Toaster, or the Star Kanjure. God damn it. Conjure. Aniushi, Gungelian, Jokersat, Mila, Jacob K, Kyle Chua, Scar Aidenham, Christian V, Kieran, and The Land of Dreams.